Hi everybody, this is Mo Volans back again for Tuts Plus with a quick tip this time, and we've been focusing on classic workhorse type effects. There was a full-length tutorial video just published that was about classic compressors and emulated hardware compressors, and we covered the LA2A and the 1176, and these are, in my opinion, absolute, sort of necessary processors to have in your collection. I'm going to do another full-length tutorial on sort of classic EQs, and we're going to cover things like Pultec and API and SSL equalization and really modeled analog EQs. But in this tutorial, it's a quick tip, and I'm going to do two quick tips. This one is going to be on musical high-pass filters, and then I'm going to do transient design in the next one. Now, musical high-pass filters, what do I mean by that? Well, really, when a lot of my students or people that give me mixes high pass things, they've learned that they need to remove unwanted subsonics and low frequencies from everything but low end elements. Although that's not a hard and fast rule, that's a pretty good starting point to go from. They've learned that this is, pretty important, especially in electronic music, to create space and contrast between the sounds. What they tend to do is go far too extreme. So they'll use a digital EQ, they'll use a stock Logic or Cubase or Reason EQ, and they'll just high pass the hell out of something and completely ignore the shape of the curve and completely ignore the style of EQ that they're using. And so in a way they're doing the right thing, but their application is maybe a little misguided, or it's maybe just not exactly the way they should be doing it. So what is the best way to high pass something? Well, I'll play you this little passage, and it's got a vocal in it.
Now it's time to turn the page.
Now, realistically, that vocal doesn't need it. It's already pretty heavily processed. I'm just using it as an example here, really. But what a lot of people would do is grab an EQ like this, and this is the Cambridge EQ, but, looks very much like a lot of digital EQs, like the FabFilter Pro Q or Logic's stock EQ or Cubase's stock EQ. Very similar to this. Graphic, fully parametric, etc., etc. They'd grab like a heavy high pass curve, and they'd say, "Oh, right, well, everything past about 250 needs to be filtered." And in a way, that's correct. In electronic music, you can, some would say a magic frequency is 270, and you can, remove everything below that in non-low end frequency sounds. Don't quote me on that one, but it's a good starting point. But you can hear that it's a little harsh. Let's remove it.
Without a trace, and the city lights,
it's removing the frequencies that we want, but it's what I'd call crushed. And a lot of engineers will use this term, and it's really saying that it's colored. It's, you can hear the action of the high pass. Now, a lot of the time, what I like to do is keep things organic and high pass things and compress things and whatever else while keeping it transparent. So how do we go about doing that? Well, with an EQ like this, it's very simple. Go down to a much easier curve, in fact. Let's go down to one of these and bring it down a little.
And now the cast is gone.
Start right at the bottom and keep moving until you hear coloration.
Left without a trace, and the city lights, they fade.
You can probably go with a slightly more intense curve.
Time to turn the page.
There you go. See, that's a lot easier. And you can see the difference between these curves. That's more like a synth high pass. And it is useful in some situations where you can, notch up to a frequency that's not going to colour sound. It's a very high frequency sound, and you can remove a lot of the subsonics without touching the sound. But in a situation like this, where there are some low end frequencies in there, that when you remove them, they are going to affect the sound. Even though it's subtle, you don't really want to crush the hell out of it. Now, what you'll find is that in analog modeled EQs, especially EQs like the SSL, and let's go with the SSL channel strip from UAD, there's high pass filters in here. And I'm just going to turn the Cambridge off. Now, I much prefer in critical situations like this, using something like the SSL channel strip. And let's think about Reason's console. That's now got the same modeled filters in. Let's think about Waves. There's any number of SSL channel strip models out there now, and SSL style EQs. But many EQs and companies are making these sort of analog style high passes. And if we put this at the same sort of frequency, you'll hear that it's what we call musical.
And now the cast is gone
Even at 350.
Left without a trace, and the city lights, they fade.
So essentially, we can go up to 250 and 270 in the frequency we're at without crushing the hell out of that low end and colouring the vocal. There are, like I say, other companies doing it. Brainworks, now part of Plugin Alliance, do something called the Clean Suite, which is an excellent little plugin. And it says that they've built this because of this problem. It's got what they call anti-crush technology. So if you go up to say 270 with this, you can see the curve is really, really easy, and it's going to be a similar curve to what that you'll find in the SSL modeled strips and other analog style strips. So stick to these sort of high passes on every channel, and you'll not get that hard crushed, colored, synthesized sound throughout your mix. Hopefully this is useful to you. Hopefully this is going to help you create a more organic, warmer sound, but also remove those troublesome low-end subsonics. Try it in your mixes. Try it with the plugins that you have. And if you can't afford these modeled plugins, try it with your stock EQs, but go easy on those curves and keep it organic and keep it, nice and warm to listen to. And good luck. Cheers.